But with that being said,
we're good.
And with that being said,
I am. Hey.
With that being said.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to our 5 is 1 podcast. And with that being said, my name is Jonathan Heimbach, Coach Jaime. I'm the offensive line coach for the XFL Arlington Renegades, and I'm joined by my co-host, Gerald Foster.
Hey, what's up, guys? Always happy to be here.
Legendary offensive lineman for the Nebraska Huskers.
That's all not true. That's I'm not even gonna lie. Coming out of Nebraska for you to say that with all those greats on the walls, God,
stop being so modest. And this podcast has a little bit of an XFL flair. We're getting ready to kick off the season, and Gerald was a participant in 2.0 XFL, so we're going to get into some of that. And then we've got a new co-host. Travis Jones is with us, and Travis has been around college football, around the game of football since maybe a long time. I'll let you get into some of your roots, Travis, but as a player, as a parent of a current college football Power 5 offensive lineman, we've got some awesome takes, some awesome insight. And Travis, welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate you having me on. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to joining you guys and mixing it up and seeing where this goes and adding some flair to it. So let's get this thing going.
I think it's cool right now that we've got everybody representing something with what they're wearing. Not only am I rocking the new spring line 5 is 1 hats that are going to be out soon, and we'll talk about my shirt and who the new sponsor is for the podcast, but Gerald, you're rocking kind of the black shirts swag for the Huskers.
You know, I had to throw on my it kind of looks like I'm an one of those OG coaches with the Nebraska, the Reds not there kind of vibe. Yeah, no, I had to, right? I see Travis has on this Michigan hat, and I'm like, there's no chance that I'm gonna sit here and I'm just gonna act like, you know, there's not a little bit of beef. Obviously, one team's a little bit better in the last couple of years than the other. But I mean, Michigan's okay too. Yeah. Michigan, right?
Travis, tell us a little bit about the hat. What's the connection? Was it just kind of the first thing that you grabbed, or do you wear that hat a little bit every couple of days?
I do wear the hat. I do represent A2 and the big house and whatnot. Not only being a lifelong fan, I am a trader originally from Ohio, but I've grown up and have been a lifelong fan of the University of Michigan, and my son was blessed to have an opportunity of a full ride scholarship there, and was on the squad this past season as a redshirt freshman, and looking forward to year number 2 out the gate. So we're excited to see how things happen. Some changes, some newness, coming down the pipeline. Spring games coming up, so Gerald, take some notes, do a little bit of scouting, so you can report back to Lincoln of how things are going to be when that game happens, when we roll into Lincoln in mid-September. Hopefully we'll be at that game together, and one of us will have a bigger smile on the other face, but we'll be toasting beverages together and having fun. So
I was going to say, at the end of the day, as long as I got a drink that, non-alcoholic, me sitting there with a Gatorade, right? As Jaime's putting up one of our sponsors, instead of me sitting there with a beer, I'll be fine. Yeah, right.
It's all in good spirits. College football is one of the greatest spectacles. I think that's something that brings us close together. Just seeing the history that we have together. I know there's a big matchup. We all have Colorado roots right now. Gerald's running our training in Colorado Springs and Monument with the 5 is 1 training for youth and high school and college guys. And I know there's a big matchup coming up this year that the Huskers are going to be back in Boulder, and that's kind of one of those old school matchups that should be fun this year. So, Gerald, you got to keep your head on a swivel once the Huskers start getting close to coming to Boulder for that week 2 matchup. That's going to be a fun one to see Coach Prime.
I can't wait. right? It's going to be Coach Prime. We'll see exactly how that program is. Coach Rule is going to be his first time going against, second game, but I'd probably say the first big game of the year going out there to play Colorado. I'm excited for it. I'm gonna be there. Got to be there because if I'm gonna be an hour away, what am I gonna sit on my hands while I have to watch my boys take it to the Boulder Buffs or whatever they call themselves? It really doesn't matter. So that's gonna be a whole lot of fun.
Well, because Nebraska can always overlook their warm-up games, like that Georgia Southern game was really, no big deal. So, they should be able to
Right.
roll those group of 5 teams.
Yeah, I mean, God bless Nebraska.
Bro, too easy. You set me up on that one. So.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. The problem is that we really do stuff like that. We're coming into those games and everyone, back in the day, everyone always thought, oh, let's not even look at these games. When your team is barely being able to play against Purdue and Illinois, nothing against those programs, but yeah, if we're having struggles against those teams, we can't beat those teams, then you got to go against those non-conference games thinking the exact same thing. This is us giving it everything we got, and we need to put it all out there so we can get the dub. Like, I hope that Coach Rowe comes in with that kind of mentality and gets everybody on the same page. Michigan.
Hey, let's talk about bowl games. How'd things go, Travis, for the boys in maize and blue for their big matchup?
Hey, it was an exciting game. It was an exciting game, but
you got to see it, right?
Short. I was there.
You got to see that train wreck.
Yeah, I did. I did. It was awesome. It was the best seat in the house compared to, a Nebraska fan had, which was at home.
You could have been at home and watched the loss.
I could have been at home, but even being there was awesome. And to be honest, it was a great experience. The energy was live. I mean, it was awesome. Hey, it didn't work out in our favor, but I like it. It keeps that taste in their mouth. And they're going to come back even better. And I love it. They're opening up as I think number 4 in the odds to win the national championship, negative 800.
What a hard
I think Nebraska's at like 2,100 in their points to make it. I'm
not
sure. I didn't go down that long.
That's Travis saying, put your money on Nebraska. And the problem is, sir, Travis, now, this is the thing that I don't like, is that he's putting us against each other. Okay, he's putting the Big Ten against each other because they're not a part of the Big Ten yet. When he finally joins in and he gets to see what real football is, then he's going to have to deal with it. That's the day. I mean, the SC guys sitting over here.
Are you ready? Are you ready for us? Because we were all ready to rock and roll, and then all of a sudden we ran into the vaunted green wave of Tulane.
I was going to say.
Matchup. So talk about.
I think all 3 of our schools didn't have the outcome that we wanted when it came down to it. So, but you are correct, Gerald. He's going to have to come and see what big boy football is all about. I know he played back in the day where it was grounded pound and all of that. But that's making a revisit. It really hasn't left the Big Ten. It's left other conferences around the nation, but it hasn't really left the Big Ten. So I like to see how that's going to happen in their fingernail painting quarterback, how that's going to last in the Big Ten. So, but this is the kind of stuff that I enjoy, man. This is great, man. 3 guys that have good vibes with each other, but they're all rooting for 3 different teams, and soon they're going to be in the same conference. So it's going to be great material for shows that are going to be coming down the pipeline. So you guys out there listening and watching, stay tuned because it's going to get better and better and better.
Yeah, definitely.
No doubt. Go ahead, Joe. What's up?
Oh, I was going to say, just the Big Ten fans. You got to watch us. You got to be able to give us your insight. Let us talk about all the crap that you guys want to talk about on the air. Send the comment, Nebraska, wow, look how great we're doing this year. Michigan's doing so bad. I'll be like, yeah, you're right, but I'm not going to go too deep into it. The best part about where I'm at right now with Nebraska is that we're not expected to do anything. So if we can just win a couple of these games coming into the year, we beat Colorado, and then we find our way September beating Michigan. I don't know. I won't stop talking until SC comes. That's
Okay,
how it's
all
gonna be.
right. We'll be there. We'll be there soon enough. You got to ease your way into playing big boy ball when the Trojans all of a sudden come rocking the Big Ten. But yeah, it's going to be, college football is changing. We all know it. We've seen it. The landscape has changed. There really are no conference borders anymore. I know Texas and OU, they're ready to jump to the SEC. It is the haves and the have-nots, and as we kind of wrap up a fall season, college football, it was an incredible bowl season. Congrats to Georgia. They were by far the team of the season. Big news, they just lost their offensive coordinator. So to the NFL, there's lots going on, lots changing. But guys, what'd you think about the Super Bowl? I mean, this past Super Bowl was pretty impressive. I mean, you probably had the two best teams. You had the best teams matched up. And I think that's the way that the fans wanted it. And it was pretty cool to see how close that game was. I mean, just the back and forth and, the Eagles being able to really dominate time of possession and snaps that they had throughout the game, but all of a sudden put the ball on the ground, scoop and score. We got a ball game. And then just to see how things escalated and snowballed towards the end of the game. Gerald, you took a little trip down to Arizona. What was kind of the vibe down in AZ as you were down that way in the mix and running through all that down there?
AZ was a whole lot of fun, right? I try to hold back on half the stories. It was celebrities everywhere. It didn't matter where we went, and me being lucky enough to have played and have teammates. We were able to go to a whole lot of crazy parties, be around all these big name celebrities, all this crazy stuff.
Name drop.
Management.
Name drop. We need a couple names.
Waste management was wild. Talking about, yeah, I mean, we were out with Micah Parsons. We were out with Van Der Esch. We were able to see there. Johnny Manziel was down there. Quarterback for the God bless. I'm gonna look like the worst fan ever. Burrow was there.
Okay.
Joe Burrow.
And they were all saying this one guy from Nebraska, Gerald Foster, was there. They were all
one guy.
you, bro. So go ahead. Do your thing.
Busting with the boys, they were there. Yeah. Compto was out. Taylor was out. It was sweet. It was crazy to see all these, all these big names walking around having a great time, and everyone was cool. It was a whole lot of fun. Talking about the game though, right?
Let's get to the game.
I enjoyed the game. The game until the end. I am the one that does not want a ref to be the person who decides the outcome of the whole thing. I understand from, we can bring up the picture. We'll throw it up there. Hope people can see it right now. Okay. The picture's up there.
My boy Juju. You gotta hold my boy Juju. You can't hold Juju down.
you might say that's a hold, but the thing is how many of those happen all over the field all the time, right? For that to be the call that's made right at the end of the game, that's the only time that I'm ever like, you know what? Why don't you let the boys play it out? The ball sailed another 10 yards into the end zone past where Juju was. I don't know if he had gotten there. I don't, I can't sit here and say he did, but for how exciting that whole game was, for it to end the way it did, at least it was a smart play by the running back. That was cool to for the commentators to be able to explain to people what was going on. Yeah, a lot of people didn't understand why he stopped. I was like,
that's big time. That's big time because he's going to be able to go back and tell his kids and grandkids, look at the time that I could have been the guy to score a touchdown. He may never get that opportunity ever again.
Completely.
But he totally, that was total. I'm going to put the team's interests in front of mine. And that's the 5-is-1 mantra, right? That's the O-line mantra, team before me type of thing. And he demonstrated that on the highest platform. The funny thing is about that clip, and when you go back and look at it, we have it showing here, is the NFL films caught the best angle of that hold. But also if you look in the background, you've got the left tackle going hands to the face on the end. So really, you've got a potential there that is offsetting, right? Offsetting, that ball goes right back to where it was, and we're redoing everything. And who knows what the landscape and the outcome may happen with that. So, I mean, just like you're saying, like, you don't want to see that. I agree with you. I'd hate to see a game be put on the line by a call, but it also was put on the line by a no call. The same play, you've got both instances happen, which is a parody of how this season really happened in the NFL, I feel, this year. Yeah. So
it is crazy to see a full season come down to that last drive, and you really saw some great football IQ by just the game plan. I mean, you got to give credit to Andy Reid and his staff, and Andy Heck, the offensive line coach, and Eric Bieniemy. I mean, you're looking at juggernauts in the coaching profession, and coming down to the last couple plays, I mean, it was pretty impressive to see, hey, I got the opportunity to go score in the Super Bowl, but they had worked on that situation, that situational football, to say, don't score, don't give those weapons the ball with any time left. And Philly had one play, and they couldn't quite get the Hail Mary out there. I mean, that was some awesome football. Like, watching that, I watched it with all our coaches, and we were grubbing on some Vaqueros Texas barbecue, by the way, when we were watching the Super Bowl.
That's a shout out.
Our new sponsor of the 5 is 1. And with that being said, podcast, Vaqueros Texas Barbecue, crushed it with the brisket this weekend. But that was some awesome football that we were watching. And, just to see how much that meant to those teams and those fan bases. Those are two pretty passionate fan bases. I mean, I was lucky enough to play for a hot second for the Kansas City Chiefs. But to see the emotion of, Coach Sirianni listening to the national anthem, by the way, which was an incredible rendition.
Oh man, Chris Stapleton.
Jeez. I mean, that thing rocked, boys. That was awesome. But to see Nick Sirianni tearing up, that wasn't just about that anthem. That's about everything that went into ball to get to that point, for him to get that job and to struggle and to build that franchise back up, and how hard it is for that season. And you break it down into one final series. Guys, that was pretty awesome. Just like, I got goosebumps thinking about that Super Bowl. That was a pretty awesome just event and spectacle.
Yeah, no. And I mean, for the first that happened, right? It was the first time two black quarterbacks going against each other ever. Black History Month, right? Shout out to Black History Month. But that even, for that to be like a first in the game, and then two brothers playing each other, like in the game. We had wasn't the Harbaugh brothers? Didn't they coach against each other? That was as close as we got to it. But this being actual guys out there, and I don't know if you guys, if you watched the little clip of the Kelsey mom when she went to be with Travis, then she went to be with Jason, and there's all that love. Like, you're all like, golly, that's when like football for a lot of us, it is just it's so passionate. It's such a big part of our lives. And for them to like really show it, like there is an actual clip like showing how much love that game is able to bring people and how much we all care about it. So it was sweet. It was wild.
It was really awesome. Yeah, it was really awesome. Like, it showed a lot of what we want out of football. And I think it showed also a little bit of how this season was with it. To have, two guys going at it as quarterbacks in Hurts and in Mahomes, very similar, but very different. I mean, Mahomes, come on. This guy's rushing on a high ankle sprain, and putting it on the line. And I hate to say that because I'm not really a KC fan, to be honest, but I am a fan of good football, and I'm a fan of guys, putting it out there and giving it all and leaving it on the field. And that's what we saw. We saw a lot of those things. McKinnon, we talked about that, but then we also see the brothers, right? And we see them, they're celebrating each other throughout the whole season, right? And they're building up on this, and they've got an awesome podcast too. Not we're giving free shout outs or anything like that, but they got an awesome podcast. But the fact that Jason was celebrating Travis and Travis celebrated Jason, and then it's like, all right, this week we're not celebrating each other, but then they come together at the end, and I don't know if you guys saw the clip there when they did come together, and I think NFL Films had the mic and everything in there, but it was Travis had a hard time, like he was celebrating. He just won the Super Bowl and everything, but he had to go through that moment and seeing his brother lose the Super Bowl. And I think that brings the humanistic side to this game and everything like that. But I mean, what do you guys think about as far as like Jason Kelce? Like he's undecided if he's coming back, and he's an offensive lineman. So like that, he's our guy, right? He's not sure if he's not sure if he's coming back. So what do you think? Is he going to come back?
Jason Kelce is our guy, right? I mean, at least for me, that's the person I see. I fanboy, right? I'd be a little kid again with a Sharpie and a T-shirt, hoping to God he'd give me an autograph. If Jason Kelce wants to call it, he's done enough for the league. He's put his body on the line for how many snaps. He doesn't need to be back in there. It was 12 years, 18 sacks. Right. It was something like 5,007. I don't remember exactly how many snaps he did, but it's like the guy's done it. Okay. He is going to be a Hall of Famer. We all know that. So if he wants to go back out there and give another year, obviously he can, he still is bullying whoever he wants out on the field. If he wants to put his body out there, go for it. If he doesn't, I respect the man. So he's done enough for the O-line, and he's given us enough to talk about for years.
I have been watching and studying these two offensive lines throughout our entire offseason as we prep and get ready for the XFL. These were the best two offensive lines out there playing. Now, no disrespect to the other teams, the other units. There's some great players out there, but these were the best two units. And when you look at guys like Kelce, who is as powerful as he is, I mean, he was a walk-on at Cincinnati and coming into college, and kind of ate his way and worked his way and grew his way into being an offensive lineman. And to be how dominant that he is at the game at this level, he's got a great football IQ. And it's really cool to see the guys that just, you can tell that's a dude you want to hang out with. Like that's a guy that you just want to go to dinner, hang out, be around guys like that, because when you try to build a unit with an offensive line, which we're trying to do here in the XFL, you want to be able to create a unit that just knows how to communicate. And a guy like Lane Johnson, Mailata and all those guys, I mean, it's really cool to see groups come together, and especially when they're going to sing a Christmas album together this year.
And kill it. Absolutely kill it.
You got to give it up for those dudes. They're having a blast. And they're straight murdering people. Like they are just putting body bags on the field because they love to play physical. But the thing that I've noticed watching them and really studying them on coaches' film, not just watching the games, is they don't do a ton. Like they're super simplistic within what they do. Now they got a bunch of formations and motions and all that. And they've got a freak as a quarterback. To have him back there gives defenses, they put defenses on notice. And so it's really cool to see a guy like that run that offensive line. And then you see the youth, the up and coming group of like the Creed Humphrey, the Oklahoma grad alum that's kind of running the show for the Chiefs. And that was a totally remade offensive line 2 years ago.
Yep.
And I've got to give a total shout out to Coach Andy Heck, the offensive line coach with the Chiefs. I went and visited them when I was with a couple years ago, getting ready to start the XFL season, Gerald, before we started in 2020. I went out with Duke Manyweather, and we spent a couple days during training camp, and Coach Heck let us visit and sit in meetings and watch practice. It was awesome to see that group, but that was a veteran group. All those guys are now gone, and they've totally revamped that offensive line. And so credit to their personnel staff, to the coaching staff, to remold that and rebuild it, and to see them be one of the top offensive lines and take them right down to the end and win it, because they kind of imposed their will at the end of that Super Bowl. That 4-minute drive, they kind of laid it out there on the field and said, we're going to go pound this, and we took our time and kicked the field goal to win it. That was cool to see as an O-line coach, just as an O-line connoisseur, to say, this is how the way you want to emulate controlling the clock, even though you didn't have as many snaps as the other team, but they got it done when it came down to it during that 4-minute get it done time. So that was cool to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let me talk to you about this, because this might factor into, Jason Kelsey's decision, but the Eagles are losing both their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator. And so they're going to have to replace those guys. So do you think that factors in, and how do you think that factors into their being able to come back and get back into the Super Bowl for next year?
Just matters what they pick up. You pick up a guy that knows the way that coaching staff has already ran the show. You pick up guys that are in the facilities doing stuff like that. I don't see anything changing. Now, if you go out in the street and you try to pick up some person that, quote unquote has the
Hey, I'm gonna break the news right now. I'm breaking the news right now. So Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach, is going to be there. Stoutland University is strong. He's one of the best in the game. You're going to hear it from me first. Marcus Brady, who is the offensive analyst right now for the Philadelphia Eagles, who was the offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts. He was on Frank Reich's staff. Nick Sirianni brought him on halfway through the season. And Marcus Brady, I have a ton of respect for. He and I coached together in the Canadian Football League. Marcus and I won Grey Cups together. He's now an offensive analyst. He'll be the next offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. You heard it here first. I have no knowledge. No one leaked it to me, but I know those guys see things eye to eye. When Shane Steichen left and just got the head job with the Indianapolis Colts, and Steichen was a player of mine. Steichen played at UNLV. He was one of our quarterbacks at UNLV when I was coaching for John Robinson. He probably won't hire me because I got him hit too much when he was a quarterback.
What a vendetta, God damn.
No doubt. But hey, I love Stike. He's a great young offensive coordinator. He's a stud. So the coaching carousel will have something to do with guys, whether they play, free agency, coming back. There's no doubt. But I don't see Kelsey going anywhere. He is the linchpin to that offensive line. Travis, he's the dude that stirs the drink for that offensive line. And I see more ball still left in him. I give him 2 to 3 more years, or he can go out whenever he wants. If he decides to retire, God bless him. He's one of the best in the game, but I love watching that dude play ball.
They brought in one of my young guys right behind him, Cam Jurgens. We'll have to have him on. He'll definitely get on. And that would be just to be able to get his pieces of what Jason Kelsey's like. That'd be fun. I'm gonna have to set that up. That's easy.
So now that we're on the roll of crystal balling and making predictions, breaking news on. With that being said, let's talk about the other team. Is Eric Bieniemy going to be the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs next year, or is he going to get a shot, or is he not? Let me pose this question: is he not taking his shot because he wants the right opportunity?
Why would you want to leave Andy? Why Andy Reid? That guy, I wouldn't want to go anywhere. He does things, and it's every single year I watch. Well, obviously for the Super Bowls that he's been in, but just throughout the games, he does things that I just sit there. I go, wow, I can't believe I would have never thought. I've never thought of that. Right when he put old boy in motion to be able to, because he knew they were in a man, but he knew if he did a sprint motion, they were going to try to follow. And then pop him right back out, hit him with the bubble with, a naked bubble and have him run it in, do it twice, and it worked. I was like, if you're a coach and you did not take notes on that to be able to throw that into your playbook, you're crazy. That was one of the coolest, offensive plays. The mindset, for him to understand the game so well, it's just baffling. I wouldn't want to leave. If he leaves, he leaves. That's on him. He does what he wants to do. But I would rather just sit and keep taking in as much as I can from a guy like that. That's on me.
I would say Bieniemy was the hot name a few years ago to be a head coach. And he is so dynamic. And a lot of people have questioned, is he truly calling the plays, or is Andy Reid calling the plays? When you look at the sideline, they show Andy Reid. There are certain times that he calls the plays, but there are certain other times when they cut over and he's not saying a word on the mic, and Bieniemy's calling it. And I think that's one of the things, you have certain coordinators that maybe might have it in title, but they're not calling it. They might be the offensive organizer. Hey, they help put the thoughts together. They might do the red zone. Like I've heard people have head coaches or coordinators. Maybe they'll call the situations. They might call the red zone, or they might have third down, or they might have, a certain aspect of the game, the 4-minute, whatever it may be. The enemy's calling the plays, and the offensive just innovation that you see from the Chiefs is really cool. Now he's got a lot of toys to play with. When you got Mahomes and
Kelsey,
my man Juju out doing his thing. I heard some guy when we were watching the game, he was like, Juju sucks. How come he's not with the Steelers anymore? He didn't do anything for Pittsburgh. My man caught 100 balls for the Steelers and got paid. So when you have toys like that and you've got the guys in the backfield like McKinnon and the offensive line you have, it's really fun to play with. And they're so innovative on offense. I don't know that Bieniemy goes anywhere. There are no more head jobs. They're all closed up. They're all done. And I don't know why you would want to leave to go be a coordinator somewhere else. Unless you feel like, hey, I've kind of done all I need to do and I want to go spread my wings and go do my own thing. But would he have been, or is he the next if Coach Prime leaves? When Coach Prime goes to Florida State in 2 years, is he the next guy at Colorado?
Yeah, I was going to say,
does he just sit and wait? Does he want to mess with that? Or does he just love the pro game? I mean, that's the fun part of kind of the speculation and coaching. Who in 1 year ago, who in their right mind would have said Matt Rule, Nebraska, Prime, Colorado? Are you kidding me? No. Lincoln Riley a year and a half ago at SC. Come on. Like, you never know where people are going to be. We're just talking about 3 schools that we have common knowledge, but you never know where the game of football is going to take you, and which is cool about the relationship that we all have. I mean, Travis, your son and my son played football together in high school. And now I'm a huge fan of Connor and what he's doing and what he's building. And he's a Joe Moore Award winner. That's pretty cool. And Gerald, for our relationship, I tried to recruit you, couldn't pull you in. I didn't have enough bags, but I got to coach you in the XFL. And it's just cool to see the relationships and how fun college, pro, and high school football, you just build a relationship, and there's nothing like the offensive line. So I know I went on a little long tirade there, but I think Bieniemy, it's his choice because he's one of the greats in the NFL. That's for sure.
You're talking about greats in the NFL. Let's talk about greats in the XFL, right? So we got Jonathan Heimbach. Guy is going to destroy, right, with that offensive line coming out with the Renegades. This is going to be crazy for all the people that are going to be able to tune in. We the first game Saturday, isn't it? Am I wrong?
It's going down this Saturday, man.
Going down Saturday. You got to be able to tune in, okay? Be able to watch everything that they got going down there in Texas, all right, in Arlington. We were going to do a soft little shout-out to the USFL. Theirs is starting in April as well, but the big one that we want to talk about is the XFL. We got all these ties to the XFL. Coach Jaime, he was in XFL 1. I was in XFL 2, and now he's coaching in XFL 3, right? Is XFL going to be able to hold itself, keep itself going? Because, I mean, everybody wants to see the XFL. Everybody loves hearing that the XFL is popping up. I was down there talking to a couple of the guys, and they were like, well, at least we got the XFL next. And I was like, that's great. I love that even the pro guys, are in their heads, they're all like, we got more football to watch. And I know that's how every fan is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you hit it on the head there. We've got XFL this weekend, and our guy, Coach Jaime, is going to be the headliner there, shouting it out. And so let's talk about, let's dig into that, man. Let's bring it in with that. Yeah. And this part of the show is going to be brought to you by Zoa energy drinks. I think Coach Jaime's got one right there. They are crafted to help you reach your potential and inspire others to reach theirs. There it is.
I'm reaching my potential. Here we go.
He's reaching his potential. I just got a solo cup. That's all.
There are Zoa energy drinks like on every corner in the hotel, in the meeting rooms, it's like the new alternative energy drink. So,
if you're not, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I got to be careful. I don't drink one past 3:00 or I don't go to sleep. Like it's like we're a little late on the podcast right now. And boys, it may be an all nighter putting this final game plan together. But, it's this league. First off, the last thing I want to be is a headliner. No one needs to know Coach Jaime because no one wants to know the offensive line coach.
Know the offensive line coach, guys.
Hey, bro.
If he does bad, now you know his name. Okay, now you know what he looks like. You got everything.
Here's the thing, though, right? It's the XFL. We're going to be able to know Coach Jaime, and we're going to be able to know a lot of people up close and personal. Because what is the XFL going to bring to us that we don't get to see in other leagues? Yeah, in-game interviews. So when that happens, right, those mics are going to be right there. Coach Jaime may be in a position where he has to say, you know what? You guys just ran that ball down their throats, and you did it in what looks like 2 plays. You did a whole drive in 2 plays, 2 running plays behind that offensive line. What did you feed these guys? And he's going to say, we fed them the Caros, Texas-style barbecue. Hey, shout out to them real quick because they're right up the road from the Arlington Renegades, 20 miles north.
Look at that.
Go get you some Texas-style barbecue, the same barbecue that the XFL Renegades ate during Super Bowl. The coaches ate good. I'm waiting for mine to come in the mail. I know it's going to come, but go check them out. 214-532-4244. They'll hook you up. Tell them Coach Jaime sent you. But really, the mics, I think that's going to be awesome because I can't wait, Gerald, to be able to see our Coach Jaime being asked a question when he's trying to break down for the next series, break down, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? You've been there. I've seen it, right? I've seen it up close and personal, but you've been there on the sidelines when you're trying to prep, but you've got something that the XFL is bringing that the other leagues don't have, right? And it's that those interviews right there. What do you guys both have been there. How do you feel about that? Like you're trying to play a football game and you've got some guy putting a mic in front of your face mid-game. Be like, hey, how was that drive?
I mean, I do want you to be ready. It's going to be about halftime. When they come in, they're going to be like, so Coach Heimbach, how do you already have 500 yards rushing? I don't know. It's what I do. It's what I do. And I'm not changing up for anybody. You go ahead and tell them what you got to tell them. Whenever it comes to that, when it comes to the cameras being on the sidelines, live and impersonal, as quick as they want to be, do whatever they want to do, that's different. The one thing I remember that they told us, they had the little media guy come in to talk to us about all this stuff. He was like, now when the cameras are in front of you, we want you to be yourselves, but you can't be yourself so much. And I laughed at that. I was like, that's so stupid. But I mean, serious, like, you're on a football field, and for all the people that play football, you know how passionate you get. You're losing your mind throughout the whole thing. I mean, you're either the ammonia's got you going, or it's gonna be the adrenaline. Like between those two things, that's what keeps you like moving around. And for somebody to put a camera in my face, I don't know exactly how I do it. Coach Jaime, God bless you, and I hope it all works out.
Appreciate that. Now that you're just a casual fan out there, just watching us, but I'm excited to be involved with the XFL for the 3rd time. Played in the first one, coached in the second one with Gerald, and it's really been fun to put this group together. We've been in camp for 5 weeks, and the clock is ticking. We had a really good practice today. The guys are really firing on all cylinders. Because I will tell you this, we probably had our worst practice yesterday and our best practice today. So hopefully we're trending in the right direction. It's cool. They painted the field. It's ready to go. And it's exciting to see Saturday going to kick off. It's 3 p.m. Eastern on ABC. So Disney is who's going to cover the league. So it's ESPN, it's ABC, it's FX, it's all the Disney affiliates.
Mickey Mouse owns everything.
That's right. There's no doubt. But we also are owned by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And our chairwoman is his ex-wife, Danny Garcia. And then the big money that's coming in, the huge investor, is Redbird Capital. And Redbird Capital owns AC Milan, the pro soccer team. So this is some deep pockets in this league. And I know there have been other leagues. I've been involved in pretty much every single one of them. This is staying power. When you have ESPN and Disney and Redbird Capital and the production, I guess, extravaganza of a personality like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson backing this thing, and I'll just look at it from the inside out, letting you guys know the food is top notch, the housing is great, the gear, we're totally sponsored by Under Armour, like everything is first class. It's about as big time as you could ever get, and the production value when they stick a microphone in the quarterback's face when he comes off the field from throwing a pick, or when they pump in the actual play calls. When you're an audience, you're going to be able to hear the actual play calls now, which sucks for us as coaches, because in 2 weeks, we got to change all our language, all our terminology, because as soon as you say, you know, the play call and the formation and the motion or the check and the blitz, everybody's going to know what it is because there's coaches up in the box listening also. So that's kind of the gamesmanship. This thing's got to change because you've got a behind the curtain look at what pro football is. And everybody's very secretive in the football world. There will be no secrets in XFL 3.0. Boy, it's going to be an all access pass, not only on game day, but I know they're doing kind of a Hard Knocks. It will be on ESPN. I think it's on ESPN2. They're doing what they call Player 54. And The Rock is kind of leading this thing up because there's 53 guys on an NFL roster. Well, the 54th guys are all starting in the XFL right now. And so it's pretty cool to see. I've got players on my offensive line. One of them has 6 years of pro NFL experience. So I've got guys that this is their first pro ball experience and some that have multiple years as a vet in the league. And they just want to continue playing and they love playing ball. So Travis, this is going to be a fun experience. It's going to be fun to see what it looks like. But hopefully you will not see the offensive line coach on the sideline. You do not need to talk to the O-line coach. They are super boring. There's nothing exciting about them.
Let's expand a little bit on what we're going to be able to see and what the XFL is going to bring to us. You talked about some familiar faces, you know, guys, the 54th guys on there. There's I saw just today that the Saints have 24 former guys on the roster that are in the XFL. You got guys like Josh Gordon, who's with the Seattle Sea Dragons. You've got Paxton Lynch with the Orlando Guardians. And check this out, Gerald, you've got two-time BCS quarterback national champion AJ McCarron, who's going to be quarterbacking the St. Louis Battlehawks. I mean, come on now. So I mean, those are just some of the names. Go out there, go to XFL.com. You can look at the rosters. You could see, you know, our guy, Coach Jaime on the Renegades there. But let's talk a little bit about what we're going to see that's going to be different. I've got 4 items that actually 5 items that I picked up that I want to pick your guys' brains and definitely get your guys' experience. What can we expect to see as fans? First off, challenges. Coaches can challenge any play, any call, anything. It's not just certain things. So as a coach, how is that going to open up the game and dictate how things change? And then the follow-up question, Gerald, as a player, how does that make you feel that, you know, some of these plays that we just talked about in the NFL, now they could be actually challenged?
I think the big thing for the coach's standpoint, I don't know how much the challenge is going to come into play, Travis, just because every play is going to be video reviewed. Like they have cameras all over the place. We're going to have access on the field to watch video as coaches and in the booth, different than the NFL. So I think our challenge and review board, they'll make the calls and they'll probably buzz down and say, hey, we need to take another look at that. That guy really did have a false start. There was a PI, or that guy was lined up in the neutral zone. So the coaches, I don't know that it's going to be free reign to just throw challenge flags all over the place because of the amount of cameras that are on there that they're going to be watching all across the field. So, but it is nice to have that one in your hip pocket. If you need to say, hey, let's take another look. I thought that guy grabbed or tugged on it, or, you know, that was one that we want to challenge, that it wasn't a penalty. I think that's something that's nice to have in your back pocket.
Are you able to challenge if it's holding? When I say that,
Anything.
okay, so that's that. Okay. Well, first of all, this is going to slow. It's going to slow the game down.
Only defensive holding, not offense, by the way.
That's where I was. See, that's where my mind was. I was like, hold on. Now you get like a guy comes. I was like, had a really good block, and then here comes a challenge flag, and then they're trying to break up. He had him for the last 0.2 seconds. The ball was coming out of the guy's hand, and they were saying, "Oh, that's a hold."
Only defensive holding. No, we're not touching the offensive holding, not at all.
Beautiful. And the second thing is, that might slow it down a little bit, right?
No, the games are going to run fast. They actually are doing a nice job with the timing of the games. They understand it's hard for people. We're all ADD. The games are going to be done in under 3 hours. It's going to be a 2.5 hour event. So they really are going to work the clock. I think there's going to be some in-game advertising rather than the long commercial breaks. It's going to be very fan friendly and appealing to people to watch, and even better to be live and in person. So the difference in the XFL from the USFL is all the games are going to be in home cities, home locations. So we play at Choctaw Stadium right here in Arlington, which is the old Texas Rangers Stadium, right across from AT&T and Globe Life, where the Rangers play now. Seattle's going to play up in Seattle, DC's in DC, so on and so forth. Vegas is going to play in Vegas. So we're going to have home crowds, different than the USFL. They try to keep costs down. They just played in Birmingham. So that's why we had the hometown advantage when I coached in Birmingham last year. So you've got 8 incredible environments. Think about St. Louis, the Rams fans. They're just hungry for football.
Always
have. San Antonio is going to go off. So it's going to be fun to play in those hostile environments for sure.
Well, that's the one thing I was when I was watching the USFL last year, I was like, I understood them not putting the games, I understood the money that they were going to be able to save and all these things. But for the fans, right? You can't be a real fan of a team that doesn't play at your stadium. At least in my eyes, I think that's like the best thing ever, that you're going to be able to go to all these different places, and it allows the guys to see different cities they've never seen, right? Like college, NFL, XFL, all that time I had in the leagues. I loved it because when we got a chance to go see a different stadium, when we got a chance to feel a different environment, hear the different chants, all of the different, you
just wanted to go to a new club the night before, so I understand. I get it. You just want to go spread your wings.
When I can spread the love, I'd be able to go out to all these different clubs, do all the crazy stuff, and then somehow show up half one eye closed, the other eye open, kind of thing. That was the best part of it.
Okay, moving on, Travis. We don't need to dive into this, Gerald.
Well, let's talk about that interaction though. Let's talk about what the XFL is going to bring into bridging that gap between the players and coaches and the fans. There's 3 things I think that are really important with this. One, the replay communications are going to be available for broadcasts. So those talks that are happening during the replays that we don't get to hear and see, we could put the bad lip reads above it, but now we're going to be able to see it. What goes into those? There's the headsets, right? So each team gets 15 headsets, 15 Gerald headsets to use as comms during the game. So it's not like you've got one and a backup, but only one could be turned on in the NFL. You got 15 guys that are going to be, so the play calls, I think that's going to speed up the game because play calls are going to be in there. And then the gambling aspect of it, the money part of it, right? The gambling is going to be integrated into the scoreboard on the TV. So as the game progresses and everything, you're going to see money lines change. You're going to see over unders, as the game, goes through its journey, you're going to see all those things. As a fan, Gerald, how excited are you to see those components and learn more, be more involved, feel like you're there?
All right. First of all, I'm going to have to be a player for a second. The 15 headsets on the 15 dumbest guys. All right, let's do that. That's the only way to do it. Because there's nothing worse than you're all like, God, you still don't know what's going on, and you've been playing out. Okay, this is game 5, and I don't know how you're still out here. Look, we finally got headsets for the dummies. Back to being a fan, though. I'll say being able to really get yourself involved. Nobody loves anything more than football and gambling. And for both of those things to be right next to each other, they're bouncing back and forth, live bets, everything's rolling, all of that stuff. It's just going to allow people to be more captivated, right? They're going to be so sucked into these games. And for Jaime to say that it's going to be a 2.5 to 3 hour show, that's going to be perfect. I mean, the timing's going to be perfect. There's going to be a lot of information that all these sports buffs we all talk about, right? When we're talking about, oh, they did this play, for you to be able to actually hear and be able to kind of understand it, definitely for the 100 level football, minds out there, it'll be able to allow them to learn a little bit more while the games are going. And I think it's going to be good. It's just going to be a whole lot of fun. And for me, definitely, I'm going to be sitting there. I can't gamble now that I found out DraftKings, FanDuel, they won't let me gamble. So I guess I'll be sitting there on my hands, hoping to God that somebody next to me is ready to get the money line going. But it is going to be fun. It's going to be a whole lot of fun to be able to watch and see exactly how that all plays out.
Awesome. Well, let's put a cap on this segment here and like kind of just go the final plug there. Again, XFL starts off this Saturday, 3 p.m. This show will broadcast way before then, so you're going to be able to get all the information you need. So you've got 3 p.m. Vegas Vipers versus our Arlington Renegades. And while you're there, when you get done watching the game, head 20 miles north up to Grapevine, Texas. Stop off at 906 John Street there at Grapevine. And get you some good old Vaqueros Texas-style barbecue. Again, their phone number is 214-532-4244. And then,
hey, real quick, Travis, I wanted to drop in. Not only is Vaqueros, my man Trey, the owner and the pit boss over there, the pit master, but they're over at Hop and Stings Brewery, which is up in Grapevine. It's not far. It's like 20 minutes from where we are in Arlington, and those guys are going to hook up the O-line. The big dogs, the Arlington Renegade offensive line, I think is going to make a guest appearance over at Hop and Sting at the brewery. And they are the exclusive brewers of O-line Mastermind IPA. My man, Duke Manyweather, shout out to Duke. They've been a huge sponsor, and they actually were the caterers and exclusive brewer of O-line Masterminds this past year when I got to go to the O-line Summit. So it's cool to see the tradition continuing, not only with what Duke has built there, but to follow up with spring football. Man, we got some good people that love ball down here in Texas. So come join us.
Nothing better than O-lineman, beer, and barbecue. So, yeah, XFL, 3 p.m. Eastern this Saturday's kicking off. You're going to have 43 games coming at you this year, 40 regular season games, 2 playoffs at the last weekend of April, and then the tip of the spear, the cap it off. The championship is May 13th. Hopefully, we're going to see our Renegades in there. Our own coach Jaime leading the charge there from the offensive line. So get on there. Get to watching the XFL, and we're going to bring it home to 5 as 1 and talk a little bit about what's going on. We've got California rolling. Actually, they had a training event tonight, so we're excited to hear what Kiyoshi Harris, our lead trainer out there, lead coach out there in SoCal, had the boys doing. I've been seeing a lot of good videos on that one. And then he's got another session this Saturday, the 18th, right? The 18th,
Yes.
This Saturday, Friday.
Yeah.
The 18th, it's happening. Go see 5 as 1, Twitter, Instagram, 5as1.com. And you'll be able to get all the information there with that. If you're an O-lineman in Colorado,
Come on.
I don't know why you're not tapping into my guy right here, Gerald Foster. I mean, you're talking about a guy that played in Nebraska. We're not going to hold that against him. Nebraska's got some good guys there, but he's also spent some time with the Washington Redskins. He was coached by our coach Jaime with the Orlando Vipers in XFL 2.0. Why would you not want to get some love if you're in Colorado, especially if you're down in the Springs? Fountain Fork, Carson, Mesa Ridge, Vista Ridge, Pine Creek. Like if you're with those guys, you in those teams, like, come on now, you got to come over and get you some love. So what's going on in Colorado?
I'm going to say this. For all the people that kind of have that thought in their head, hey, I don't know exactly what's going on. I've heard good things. If you have any of that, just come out and see it, right? You can see it for yourself. If you don't think that it's worth your time, obviously don't come back. I don't need you to be there. But I'm telling you this, we're going to get in a lot of work. We're going to be trying to we try to find ourselves with not only the fundamentals, but we're going to break it down into our specialties, right? We're going to be able to find the uniqueness of each player. Everybody does things a little bit different. For all the coaches, you guys understand what I'm saying there. But that's something that you have to be out on the field. That's something that you have to be there for so that we're able to learn together, be able to progress together and move forward. I would love for every O lineman in this state to make their way out. It's we're going to be working out tomorrow. We're going to be working out. We work out usually Wednesdays, Sundays. If you find yourself with a schedule that's open on one of those 2 days, Wednesday at 6 p.m., Sunday at 1 p.m., please come out, enjoy yourself. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and we get in good work.
What's really cool as our vision with 5 is 1 is to be able to cater the training to each individual player, because everybody's different. There might be a first-time offensive lineman who's trying to learn the game. There might be a youth player that's just first time ever playing or getting ready to play tackle football. Or we've had college and pro guys come train with us. And so we really want to be specific to everybody's needs. And I think that's what's neat about what we've been able to build in different locations. To be able to come back, I was able to go back a few weeks ago and watch Gerald's training in Colorado. Coach Stoops let me go back for the weekend. And it was awesome to see the development when kids have been training with you for maybe 3 months.
Yeah.
And how much, number one, their bodies have changed, how much more body control they have and flexibility. And then the understanding of offensive line play, the footwork that I've seen improve, it is really fun to see. And that's why we coach. We want to help grow the game, and it starts from inside out. There are thousands of 7-on-7 trainers across the country. And that's great. But you got to be able to start from the inside out and start your training from the ground up, from the center snap to footwork, to splits, to scheme, to evaluation, to understanding defenses, run scheme, screens, pass game, protections. Like, there's a wealth of knowledge to work with Gerald and to see what Kiyoshi and those guys are doing with the training. That's what I had envisioned, is to enable them to be able to coach and be really specific to what each player's needs are. So come out, come see 5 is 1. We got it rocking. It's expanding. It's growing. We got guys from all the way up north in like Boulder area, north of Denver, all the way down to Pueblo, guys coming up to visit with Gerald. And I've got high school coaches wanting to come and spend a weekend or spend 4 or 5 days to come be a part of this thing. This is not just players. This is coaches' education. This is bettering the game from the inside out. Because if we don't grow this game from the offensive line, it's going to become a 7-on-7 flag football league. And it's all about controlling the line of scrimmage. And you can't do that with all those drawings and X's and O's on the board if you don't empower your players. And that's what Gerald's doing in Colorado.
So we talked about growing it and the vision and everything. Let's talk about that vision. Where are we gonna go next? Where are we gonna see 5 is 1 next? Where do you guys want to see? I know last week we had a couple of guys on there from Nebraska. I'm thinking Lincoln, Nebraska might be in the fold there with Mr. Conrad possibly. If we can talk him into it, I think he wants to get his fingers into that. We've talked about some Carolina exposure, Texas as well, Nevada. So like, definitely reach out, comments, send an email out to 5 as 1. Hit us up on the website. Hit us in the comments section there. Where would you like to see 5 as 1 next? Whether it be a satellite deal where we can make that happen, or setting up shop and putting in there. So I know there's been some discussion about that, and it's exciting to see where that goes, and definitely would like to see where the interest is at with that. So and with that being said, I want to shout out to our sponsors of the show one last time. We got Exos Energy Drink. Go out to exosenergy.com, get you nice flavors. I think I may have to go out there and get me a 12-pack, 18-pack, I think is how it comes in. And then again, like, hey, that Vaqueros Texas barbecue, you can go online. I bet you you get a good Gerald. I bet you if you and I can put our money together, we could probably get them to ship some food up to us.
No, so you don't know. You guys got to come see me. No way.
I love everybody else. Everybody else in the nation. Listen, everyone else in the nation, you guys can get this stuff sent to you. For us, we're gonna have to go all the way down. I'm fine. All right. I want to meet the owner. I want to meet the pit master. I'll come down.
You're coming to see my boy Trey. He is awesome. He is talented. He is going to feed the Renegades offensive line this week. This may be a weekly deal. They are the official sponsor of, and with that being said, podcast right now, because when you take care of the big boys up front, we're going to take care of Vaqueros. So we're going to be regulars over there. We're going to pub them. They do a great job taking care of people here in Texas. You guys got to come. Y'all got to come down to Texas.
And y'all got to come down yonder. Look,
hey, I'm trying to fit in around here, But hey, guys, with that being said, this podcast has been awesome. How much it's grown the last couple of weeks with the guests we've had on, Gerald with where the training is going, and Travis, your expertise, you're coming in, your experience with the game. We're going to kind of unpeel some of the layers with maybe talking about, as a parent of a Power 5 offensive lineman, and talk about recruiting and how we can help parents, not only coaches, but also kids. Like, we want to grow this game. So hit us in the comments. Follow us on social, 5 as 1, on Twitter, on IG, on TikTok. Follow us on the YouTube channel. We're trying to put these podcasts out every couple weeks. Hit us with comments. Hit us with questions. What you like, what you don't like. I'm sure we won't change one bit, but we're going to keep rocking and rolling. And that's the way we're going to roll. But guys, it's awesome to have you on. Great to see this thing going. Well, I appreciate the support with the XFL. Tune in this Saturday. Hopefully it resembles ball, and we'll put out a good product. And with that being said, Gerald and Travis, appreciate you guys.
Always and always, guys. Have a great week.